All right, everyone, we are going to get started now. On behalf of the International Services and Engagement Office, we would like to welcome you to UC San Diego and to your exchange program with us. We are excited to welcome you to campus and talk with you more about what to expect during your time here. So really quickly, just a couple of housekeeping items. First, you're on listen only mode. So you can hear us, but we cannot hear you. The next thing is that we are recording this and this will be uploaded onto our website in the next few days. So if you missed something or would like to rewatch this again, it will be available to you. Lastly, please use the Q&A box to ask us any questions. We will be answering all of our Q&A questions at the end of the webinar. So please, if a question comes up in your brain, put it into the Q&A and we will be sure to try to address it at the end. If we're unable to, because we run out of time to answer all of the questions in the Q&A, there are a variety of different ways, and we will go over that to connect with our office to get any of your questions answered. All right, so we are going to take a quick moment to introduce ourselves. My name is Felicia Young. I'm one of our international student advisors. I'm also our sponsored student and special programs coordinator and work with a lot of our J1 population at ISEO and at UC San Diego.
And hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Boyle. I am an international student advisor here at ISEO, and I'm just so excited that you're joining us tonight and really excited for your time as an exchange student here at UC San Diego.
All right, so these are the things that we will be discussing today. So
Let's see, is Felicia frozen for others? Yes, okay. Felicia, if you can hear us, I think your Wi-Fi may have frozen for a second. So I'll pick up while she gets back online. So today's session is relevant if you are an exchange student and you are recently entered the US or planning to enter the US soon to attend UC San Diego on the J1 exchange student visa. If you happen to be an F1 international student and found your way here, you are welcome to hang around, but this presentation will not be relevant for you. We're going to go through today ISEO and your support system. We have some former exchange students here to offer their expertise and their experience in your shoes, what you are soon to be doing. They have gone through, and so we're really excited to have them here to have them share about their experience as exchange students. We have some reminders, and then of course we're going to talk about ways that you can get engaged here on campus. So moving right along, since we're going to be going into the presentation portion of our presentation now, I'm going to turn off my camera so that you can all focus on the screens, okay? So to get started, I want to begin with introducing a little bit about our office, the International Services and Engagement Office. We are here for you. And so you'll hear us referred to as ISEO. Our office name, International Services and Engagement Office, is rather long, so feel free to refer to us as ISEO. We are made up of 20 friendly people who are here to support you while you're at UC San Diego. We have student advisors, administrative staff, and student assistants. All of us are here to help you, and we offer both advising and programming services. What this means is that we can advise you on understanding your immigration status. So for example, rules for working on and off campus, what you need to know about traveling as an international student, how to navigate academic adjustment and campus life, etc. We also offer a lot of programming, and through the programs we offer, you can find events to help you create the best experience that you can have while you're here at UC San Diego. So think of programs as engagement opportunities where you can meet other students, enjoy social and cultural experiences, and also, of course, learn about campus resources and your immigration benefits as a J1 student. So ISEO, our office, is just one part of your support system. We are not the only office that is going to help you while you are here at UC San Diego. And as an exchange student, it's going to be important for you to get familiar with the different offices on campus and who you go to when you have certain types of questions. So I want to talk a little bit about, give a couple examples of what your support system might look like. First and foremost, your college advisors. So it's important that you know how to get in touch with your college's academic advising office. UC San Diego has 8 colleges, and you were assigned to one as part of your admission to exchange at UC San Diego. When you have questions about navigating your program of study, for example, this could be questions about selecting and registering for classes, questions about grading, etc. Those are things you'll need to speak to your college advisor about. There may also be times that you'll want to directly rely on your professors and faculty in your major department. So make an effort to get to know the professors who are teaching your classes. As we get into the presentation, maybe some of our exchange student panelists can speak to differences if they had the opportunity to get to know any of their professors. Depending on where you're from and the education system or culture that you grew up in, it may not be common for you to develop relationships with your professors, but in the United States, it's very common for students to get to know their professors. Last but not least, there are a lot of other offices on campus, some of which we'll mention during this presentation that you might rely on during your time here. An example is the Career Center. So maybe during your exchange, you think, I would like to work on campus. Well, asking the question, can I work on campus this quarter, might require you to communicate with our office and work with career services, and also contact the department or office on campus where you'd like to work. So that's a good example of how navigating your time here might necessitate you relying on many different offices around campus. And the last thing I want to say about this is as you become familiar with UC San Diego, oh, sorry, Summer, can we go back one more time? As you become familiar with UC San Diego, take note of varying communication methods. At ISEO, to contact our office, you can contact us via Zoom advising, email, you can walk in and visit us at our front desk, but not all offices on campus will have those same methods of contact available. So for example, your college advisor, you may only be able to reach them via email or the virtual advising center, Zoom advising. So part of your journey as an exchange student will be kind of figuring out how do you get in touch with the people you need to. And if you need help with that at any point, our office can assist you with that. Okay. Last but not least, before we move into introducing our student panelists, this is a great slide to take a screenshot of. We will have this webinar posted at a later date, but these are some resources that you can kind of use to start navigating resources around campus. So istudents.ucsd.edu is our website. So this is where you can find immigration information, information on our programs. itravel.ucsd.edu is where you can find travel guidance for you as an international student, which we're going to talk about in more detail later in this presentation. hdh.ucsd.edu. HDH stands for Housing, Dining, and Hospitality. So if you have questions around housing or dining, such as where can I find food on campus, this is a great website to reference. COVID-19.ucsd.edu is where you'll find information on COVID-19 testing, vaccination, and booster information. If you need academic services or support at any point, so for example, tutoring or help with writing, commons.ucsd.edu is where you can access resources through the Teaching and Learning Commons, which is our academic support hub here on campus. And then last but not least, to get in touch with our office, you can visit icontact.ucsd.edu. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Felicia. I think she's here and our student panelists to introduce themselves.
Yes, so thanks everyone. Sorry, my internet zonked out for a second. So we are going to start our student panel discussion now. Our 3 great students I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you. So take it away.
Yeah, so maybe I begin since I'm listed first. Hi, my name is Jacobo. I'm an economics student from Mexico City. I came to UCSD, or I went to UCSD last fall. Now I graduated, so I'm back home. And I just wanted to say that this is a really good place to be at. So congratulations. And yes, I'll try to give, you know, the information that I would have liked to have, I guess, last time. Yeah.
I can go now. Hi, my name is Lucia. I'm from Spain. I'm a third-year psychology student, and I hope it's not very noisy since I'm in one of the dining halls. And I wish I can answer all of your questions with the rest of the guys.
Hi, hello everyone. My name's Sean. I'm originally from China, but I came from Germany to exchange. My home university is Humboldt University of Berlin. I speak three languages, German, Chinese, Mandarin, and English. And my major is business administration. And I love San Diego. It's a very sunny city and beautiful. Yeah, welcome you guys to have fun here. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we are going to get started with our first questions that our panelists are going to answer for you. So panelists, what was your experience like arriving into the US and to UCSD? And then what was the check-in process like for the check-in for our office?
So I would say it was very straightforward. I just followed the guidelines. One tip that I would give out is I made sure always, you know, whenever I got a document, I saved it on my computer and made a copy on my phone just in case. So I don't recall like what I needed every day, but I do remember that whenever I needed something, I could just go to my computer, and I knew since I had everything organized, it was not such a big problem. So that's just one advice.
I would also like to point, maybe it's not very related, or it doesn't seem it's very related, but when I first arrived in September, because I'm just here for the year, I really appreciated knowing about the Pronto app, which is really, really, really helpful for transportation. And you can directly come to campus. And it was really easy because the check-in, one of the check-in sites we could go to that was in ERC was open, so we just went there and we just moved in very, very quickly. So for that, I feel like there's going to be people, at least in fall quarter, there was a lot of people and signs for you to know where you have to go.
Yeah, for me the same. Like, but I came here first day. I think there's some like organizations. I think there's some Chinese organization, student organization like that provide service from. I'm not sure whether they still do it for winter quarter or not. You guys can take Uber if you guys like arrived at Lax and want to go like get to San Diego. And I would suggest to take Flixbus. It's very convenient. It's very I think relatively safe, and directly like drop off at campus and just take Uber to Trigger Point. I think to be honest, like checking office for me for full quarter is kind of like hard to find. And so like I would suggest you take Uber directly to iHouse and you will find signs to get like checking process, because the UC San Diego campus is relatively huge. It's hard to find. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, good. Good information in case anyone has not arrived in campus yet. So before we move on to the next set of questions, I did want to just ensure that everyone is aware of the check-in process. And this is what students are going to need to do in iPortal. And I'm going to just drop the link in the chat. So students do need to check in with us, and I'll go over that in a couple of slides. But when you first arrive in the US, your CVIS is in initial status. And so you do need to go into your iPortal account and check in. And this lets our office know that you've arrived in the US. You do need to give us a copy of your I-94 that you received when you entered the US. we will then activate your CVIS record. And so you will then be an active student on our campus in terms of immigration. So this is very, very important. Students should be doing the check-in within 10 days of arriving into the US. So this is just something in order to maintain visa status. This is so that we can activate your visa status with UC San Diego. So very important to do. Please make sure that this gets done. And to what Jacobo was saying, it is a great idea for you to take a picture of all of your documents issued by our office, as well as every time you seek entry into the US and receive an I-94. I do highly recommend take a screenshot of it or a PDF of it and keep it in a folder somewhere very safe, because if you, after your exchange program, ever intend to enter the US for another reason, you may be asked for all of this documentation. So you would like to keep it all in one safe place. Again, anything that our office issues to you, as well as your I-94s. All right. So our next set of questions for our panelists is, what was your experience getting settled into San Diego and UC San Diego, and if you attended any of the events put on by our office, ISEO?
I think last quarter I went to the so-called mixture international hours, like kind of like breakfast or brunch for us. I went, and I think it's very useful because I got to know a lot of people that they end up being like became my friend, and I so very appreciate it. And also I think it's very important to go to such events. And I think this is like each Wednesday, and you can just go there like and just put the information and just register, and you can without any pre-registering or a process, I think. And it's very important to make friends, although you don't necessarily to make like very close friends, but it's very important to like get to know different people, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with Sean that it is very important. I mean, ultimately what you take away are the friends that you meet there, and the welcoming events are a good place for that. Also, you know, no matter how many guidelines you get, there will always be some kind of problem that you come up with, and that's a good, you know, the people that you meet there are, you can ask them, they usually come up with similar problems and similar solutions. For me, something that was something unexpected, I guess, from arrival was I wasn't expecting to have to use the sort of ID as much as I did, and I remember that I gave the office a photo for my ID kind of late, and that made them issue my card a few days later. So that was, make sure that you have your that the office has everything ready to issue your card. That's because you're gonna use it constantly.
Yeah, like Sean, I went to the international mixer. I would just recommend to go as many activities as you can. You're gonna meet a lot of people. We had like coffee hours. I don't know if they will be like, if they will do them again, but you really get to know a lot of people. And most of them, they will live in the international house. So yeah, that's mostly how I did the group that I have right now of friends here. And we all arrived here in the same situation. We most of us don't like come without knowing anyone. So yeah, I'll strongly recommend that. And it's very important, the student ID. As long as you arrive, you're gonna be able to enter your apartment with the student ID. You're gonna be able to go to the library, to the dining halls, and pay for the food. So yeah, do it as long as you arrive. The first thing I'll do is go to ISPO, settle everything, and have the student ID, and forget about all the paperwork you will have to do when you arrive.
Yeah, and also I think there are different events that you can find on the website. I'm not sure, like and I think also like last semester is like a recreation beach event. Like we went to the beach and do exercise. That was fun, but I'm not sure like whether they still do it for like winter quarter. I believe there are a lot of different events next quarter, so I think I would recommend all you guys just check the websites. I think you can find a lot of different events. Yeah, eventually.
You guys are plugging our events. I love it. So I did put in the chat the link for the campus card office where you do need to submit your photo and then they create your campus ID card. So I did drop that in the chat in the chat for everyone in case you haven't done that yet. Towards the end of the presentation, we will be going over our event calendar, as well as somebody mentioned coffee hour. Coffee hour is one of our most popular events. We changed the hours. I think it's 9 to 11 now, but they're once a month on a Wednesday. It is, I believe, the third Wednesday of January this month. And we have free coffee, free pastries, and it's just an opportunity. It's at our office where you can, mix, mingle, meet people. We always have games and prizes and giveaways. So just a fun opportunity to get free food and drink, coffee, tea, pastries, and then be able to meet other people on campus, students, staff, faculty. A lot of people come to that event. So we are going to go into the next slide. And it's talking a little bit about maintaining status. So I did just want to touch on a few key reminders about maintaining your J1 student status. I know this information was covered in the iTriton online training that you just completed, but I did want to again remind you that when our office first issues you your Form DS 2019, you are in initial status, which means that you're ready to start the program on your program start date. And I know that for most of you was listed as January 3rd, which was the first day of winter quarter. Once you arrive to the US and start your program, we need to activate your CVIS record. And this is why you need to do the check-in process. Part of the check-in process is going to be, again, to submit your I-94, and that's the record of your arrival into the US, as well as updating your US address in Triton Link. So I know a lot of you received this information, or all of you received this information in our newsletters that we've been sending out to you. So just to recap in terms of ensuring you're maintaining status, it does mean you need to follow certain rules, regulations, and reporting requirements for the duration of your program. And so these I know were covered in iTriton online training, and so we're not going to review all of them in this presentation, but it does include ensuring that you enroll full-time in at least 12 units each term, updating your DS 2019 whenever it's needed, maintaining academic standing and integrity, following all federal rules and regulations, and then obtaining work authorization if you choose to do any employment on or off campus, paid or unpaid. And so all of these rules and regulations need to be followed up until the last day of classes, which for all of you is going to be the end date listed on your Form DS 2019. So the next slide, we do just want to let you know, if you do not follow all of the J1 rules and regulations, you could fall out of status and accrue unlawful presence in the US, which of course is not good. So we do always want to make sure you're maintaining status in the US and following rules and regulations. And then next slide. So once you begin, once you have completed your J1 program and you've maintained status throughout the program, you'll begin what's called your grace period. And for our J1 students, this is 30 days following your program end date. You can use these 30 days to either begin working if you've been authorized for academic training before your grace period ended, to transfer to another US school, or to make plans to depart the US. The vast majority of our exchange students use their grace period to travel around the US, make plans to depart, but we do have some students that do pursue internships or employment. So again, for our J1 students, you must request work authorization, and it's called academic training, before your program end date if you would like to work in the US after your exchange program ends. And then just as a reminder, so iPortal is where you are receiving all of your documents issued by our office. And so this is needed within the first 10 days of arriving into the US. So you just need to submit your check-in form in iPortal, and again, upload your form I-94 and ensure that you update your US address in Triton Link. And the Triton Link information feeds into our system. All right, so the next section we're going to talk about is classes. So for our panelists, we want you to talk about your experience with enrolling in classes as well as taking classes at UC San Diego.
Okay, so the first thing that I would say is, compared to Mexico, the system of courses and enrollment is a lot more flexible. So if you come, probably from some other Latin American country, you're used to your program being very rigid. You just take the courses that you have to. So yes, it will take some time to get used to the system. It also has many different. It's not just the lecture and exams, but it also has discussion sections, office hours, etc. You have the option to take the course on a pass or fail basis or a letter grade. Also, if one thing that I didn't consider that I wish I could have is that you can take courses from many different departments. So I could have taken courses from the statistics, maths, or data science departments, or sociology, political science, etc. And I mean, I knew that, but I wasn't aware of how easy that and how, yes, just how normal that would be. And yeah, that was it.
Yeah, for me, it was it's very different, the system here and in Spain. So my home college, I need to validate all of my courses in my home college. So I'm really trying to get as many courses as possible so that I can validate courses from my next year too. But I will say that if this is your case, try to convince your home college to get not only the courses that are really similar to the ones you would be taking there back home, but also to take more specific ones, because, for example, in my case, I'm in psychology major, as I said, and we have very general courses back in Spain. So when I arrived here, I was seeing all these courses, like eating disorders courses or childhood disorders, and I wanted to take them. And at first it was not easy, but at the end I was able to convince my home college to validate it, and it was really worth it. So I will take advantage of that, or of all the very specific courses they have. And as Jacobo said, you can take courses from other majors. So if you are able to do that 100%, I would recommend you to do it and try to not only learn from your major, but also majors that may be related or things that you maybe just enjoy.
Yeah, for me, I think this is so different because my whole university does not require us to register to enroll any lecture. We just directly go to a lecture room and just take the lecture. So I think I would love to how to say, I think I would love to know if I could there the differences the enrollment paths phases, 2 phases, and because I was so confused about that. And so which means there are 2 enrollment phases for us. First, I think is I don't know, generally, and then you get second chance to enroll. I'm not sure, so take the chance. And also I think for us we have to take the advanced lectures at UC San Diego. So we have to get authorization from different faculties, which takes time. So which means if you do not do it in time, you will have to wait. And then how to say, the like you might miss the enrollment because it could take time and you got not get enrolled in the end. Yeah, I would just say just get your authorization in time earlier before enrollment, and then you can enroll in time, get the lectures you want.
Yeah, this is a great point, and it's I think something our exchange students come up against every quarter. So because UC San Diego does not have copies of your home university transcripts, if you took a prerequisite course at your home university that is a prerequisite for a course here at UC San Diego, you do need to submit what's called an EZ request. And it's through your the department that is offering it. And so you, as Sean was saying, you do want to try to do the EZ request with enough time for the department to authorize it in time for you to be able to enroll in that class, either during your first or second pass of enrollments. So important to do. And I believe that many of the departments already know what they're going to be offering winter and spring quarter. And so you can always go and talk to the department advisor and ask them like, oh, I'm really interested in this course. I know I have to do an EZ request. Is this going to be offered spring quarter? So that you can then put in the request as soon as possible, again, because it can take a little bit of time and that could delay enrollment into that class. So those are really good points that all of you have made. All right, next slide. So this is talking a little bit about the UCSD classroom experience. So if our panelists want to talk about what it was like to sit in different classes, what exams were like, if you were having any challenges in classes, the type of academic support that you sought out on campus.
Yeah, for me, this was really a highlight from my experience there, because at least in the economics department is really good. So it was the professors are really good, and they are very accessible. Like I said before, they have many different formats like office hours and so forth. I would say the exams are a bit longer, at least for the courses that I took. They were like 3 hours, whereas at my home university they are just, you know, whatever the class is, like an hour or an hour and a half. But yeah, there's also something that is the ECSD podcast, I think it is called, that is really helpful. I mean, it is, you should not take that as a substitute for attending lectures, but it is very useful to watch back lectures. Some courses do this thing where they videotape the class, and you can check that later on. And you know, I asked some people, and many had not realized. Many other exchange students hadn't realized there was this thing they could check. So I was going to say that advice.
I would also like to add that, for example, back in Spain, I would only not only, but I would go to class and I will immediately just write every single thing the professor would say. And even though you're paying attention, you're not paying that much attention. You're just like writing everything. But when during this first quarter, at first I was doing that, and after a month, I actually realized that, I don't know if it's because here it's different or what, but if you attend to the classes, I feel it's really, really easy to just study for the exams later on time, and just attending and paying attention to the professor, trying to talk with your classmates about the subjects, or try to interact during the class. I think it's really, really easy after that to just follow the class and study. And you're here to study, of course, you're here to learn a lot. It's a really good college, but you're also here to for the experience. So try to have everything done not quickly, but don't take 4 hours for an appointment, for things that you really need just 2 hours to do them and submit them. Don't overthink about it. It's difficult, but really you're here already. That means you're a good student, so don't overthink about it and just enjoy and learn a lot. But I think it's not going to be hard at all.
Yeah, I feel like also syllabus is very important for me. And like, especially when you look at this, you will like know which kind of like course materials you need. And after you know those, you just find those materials which gonna be really helpful in the end. And sometimes just cannot understand like what does professor say, and I would just look at like those materials like textbooks and stuff. I feel like it's much more clear. And yeah, I think that's, and just do assignments on time because, and arrange your time, I think, because I think in Germany, like we don't have a deadline, we don't have assignments, we just study in the end. I feel like in the end it just gets really stressful. But the last quarter I feel is relatively easy because I think mainly I learned during like entire quarter is not like just study for the for the finals in the end. Yeah.
Also, sorry, I would like to add, in every single class, you're gonna have teaching assistants. They're really, really helpful. If you have any question about any task or anything you need to do for anything, just ask them because they really, really helpful, and they are like usually past students and they know what you're going through, so rely on them.
Great information. I will put in a plug for everyone attending office hours for your professors and your TAs or your teaching assistants, as I know some of our panelists had said. Your professors and TAs are literally paid to sit in an office for an hour a week, to be there in case you have any questions. So please utilize that time. You can just go in and talk to your professor about what they ate for lunch that day, or you know, your experience being in the United States, what you loved about their class. They're not scary people. They want to be here teaching our students. So, you know, it's a really great opportunity if you go to office hours, because oftentimes nobody goes and they're just sitting there by themselves. So definitely utilize that for sure. All right. Our next slide is talking about full-time enrollment. So this is just a reminder, students do need to enroll in a minimum of 12 units by Friday of week 2, which is next week. You must maintain enrollment in at least those 12 units throughout the quarter. And this is part of maintaining your visa status. If for some reason something in the world happens, and we understand things happen, and for any reason you are considering needing to take less than 12 units, please contact our office. You can come to advising. You would want to talk to our office as well as your home university and your college advisor. And so this is where you are all placed in one of our 8 colleges. You would also want to be talking to your college advisor to see if it would be appropriate to apply for a reduced course load in iPortal with our office. And so we did want to let students know this could be an option for students in positions who do need to utilize it.
All right, so moving on from enrollment, I want to touch base on work authorization for J1 students. Seeking employment on or off campus is very popular for our exchange students, and later in this presentation, we'll ask our student panelists if they pursued work authorization at any point during their program. In the meantime, what I want you all to know is that your J1 visa requires you to obtain work authorization from our office in order to work on or off campus, whether it's a paid position or an unpaid position. So as a J1 student, you cannot work in the United States unless you have obtained legal work authorization. As Felicia mentioned earlier, that authorization is called academic training. So make sure that if you are interested in pursuing employment opportunities, you come talk to our office and that you have the proper work authorization before you begin working. More information is available at iwork.ucsd.edu.
I'm just going to put in a quick note of clarification. So if you are thinking about wanting to do an off-campus job, that would be work authorization, whether it's paid or unpaid. If you're thinking about doing an on-campus job, which is very, very common for our exchange students. I did a lot of work authorizations this fall for our income exchange students. That is a different type of work authorization specifically for on campus, but it is still something that students need to request in iPortal and receive authorization for. So again, if you have any questions, please let our office know. We just want to make sure that the correct paperwork has been submitted and authorized prior to you beginning any type of work.
Awesome. All right. So we want to take some time and talk about travel. And I'd love to start with our panelists to kind of hear from all of you. Did you travel internationally while you were an exchange student here? And if so, can you tell us a little bit about your experience preparing for that travel in terms of your J1 status? What paperwork did you have to, check on, documents that you needed to come back? We'd love to hear from you about that.
I think there's a point like I find it very interesting that in the US there is no I would say border control if you leave the US. So be careful with that. Like I wouldn't I came to Tijuana this last quarter and I just realized nobody cares about like anyone who lives in the US. And also like try to make sure like you bring all the documents. I think most important documents are like your like passport with your visa, and also your DS 2019 for us. I think these two are like the most important things, and you can still bring some financial documents. They might need to look at those, and also your like I-94. I think those like are the most documents I think. And yeah, I went to Germany and also like Mexico last quarter. I just find it very interesting. Yeah, I got to experience like one is very smooth, like nobody checks my documents, and it took like me 3 minutes. After another one is I got a secondary inspection. It might be scary for like people who haven't got this, but it's okay. They're trying to be like it's gonna be okay. Like you, as long as you have like all the legal documents, don't panic. Yeah.
I haven't traveled internationally, so I'm not very helpful for this. So yeah, just take all your documents, as Sean said. Even if Mexico is very close by, don't forget them. And yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a joke about this. Like you just took a bus and accidentally end up in Mexico, and they didn't bring your like document, and you have no idea how to get back to the US. Yeah, just try to like bring your all documents. For sure, it's gonna be useful. Yeah.
So I dropped in the chat. This is so important. Thank you both of you for bringing this up. All the required documents that you need when you leave the US and are seeking entry back in. We do have a list of documents on our website. So I dropped it in the chat for everybody, what you do need to bring with you. Again, please make sure you keep a copy. And this is what I always recommend for all of our students here on F and J visas. Take a picture of the biographical page of your passport, take a picture of your visa, take a picture of your DS 2019. These are all really important. Keep them on your cell phone so that you have an electronic copy. You don't want to be like walking around campus with your passport because you don't want to lose it. Keep that in a very safe place. Keep, your passport with your visa in it in a safe place. But if you are departing the US, you do need to bring it with you so that you can seek entry back in. So again, that is very, very important. And you are very true. It's very true. You could accidentally end up in Mexico. That's happened. So yes, don't do that. If you do, it's okay. But again, we want to try to not have that happen.
Yes, the US-Mexico border is very close to campus, so definitely could be an accidental bus ride away. Thank you all for your input, and Sean in particular. So yes, as Sean mentioned, this may be different from your experience traveling in and out of your home country, but in the United States, when you are leaving the US, typically no one is checking to make sure what documentation you have with you. So it is your responsibility to make sure that if you are going to travel internationally, you have the documents you need to come back to the US. As Felicia mentioned, our website, itravel.ucsd.edu, has a lot of helpful information, including the link she dropped in the chat, which is the list of documents you need to travel. The required documents are, I think, as Sean mentioned, your passport. Your passport is your form of identification while you are in the US. It, of course, should include your J1 visa stamp, so you need to have that as well, and then your DS 2019. Your DS 2019 needs to have a valid travel signature if you depart the US, travel internationally, and you are wanting to come back. The travel signature is on the first page of your DS 2019, kind of in the middle. You should have received one when the DS 2019 was initially issued to you. That travel signature is valid for 1 year. So if your exchange program is just 1 or 2 quarters long, and you're going to complete your program here either this winter quarter or at the end of the spring quarter, chances are you won't need to request a new travel signature because you will not be here for even quite a year. So that travel signature is going to be valid the whole time you're here. But anytime you are planning to travel internationally, please go to itravel.ucsd.edu or come talk to our office and just double check that all your documents are up to date. All right, so we're going to move on and talk about campus resources. And again, I'd love to start here with hearing from our panelists. Can you tell us about any campus resources you made use of during your time here, whether you needed to utilize resources with the Health and Wellness Office? Did you have to contact housing for anything? Did you use the Teaching and Learning Commons for academic support services? What was helpful to you?
Well, I can go, I guess. When I haven't used a lot at the moment, which I guess is good that I didn't need it. But I really, if you need like any kind of book, any kind of document, or you just need to search something in Geisel, that is the library that we have here, you're gonna have a lot of facilities. There's a lot of people around there that will help you, and also some like the place on campus that we, at least international students, go a lot is a food pantry, which you can really I don't know how to explain it, or if I should explain it like a lot, but it's a place where you can get like some food needs if you need it. And the student center also, if you have any question about working, about classes, about enrollment, you can go there and you have a lot of people that will help you out and will solve your questions easily.
Yeah, also like for students, because my house is not very optimistic. Like I go to hospital a lot. So if you go to I would like strongly recommend to get like UC ship. Like it's very important. Like I went to like health center. It's like hospital. It's like school hospital on campus. It's called health center. You can go there. You can use UC It's totally free. If you go like go to emergency care, like urgent care and stuff. And also like got my contact lenses for free in the beginning. I think you guys can like if you need some prescriptions, I would suggest you like to go to like health center. They will help you with that. And also I think also recreation is something I really recommend. Like strongly recommend you can go there. Like they're like free like sport courses like swim, like boxing and stuff. And for students, it's free. Also, like there's a free gym on campus. It's very good. I think I go to like Rhinebeck very often. It's one of the gyms, but it's very popular. So it maybe like end up like line up for like 30 minutes or something like that. Yeah, I will like that's my suggestions. I think yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. And in fact, these are some great suggestions. I want to take a moment and drop them in the chat. So something that was mentioned was the Student Health Center. As Sean said, kind of like the hospital on campus, so to speak. This is a great resource for non-emergency needs. If you just need a checkup, or as Sean said, something help with like contacts. I'm going to put that link in the chat for you. And then also, the rec center, there are gyms on campus, classes you can take. This is a great way to stay in shape, meet people on campus. Lots of fun opportunities there. And I'm trying to think, Ushia, you also mentioned the library. The library has a lot of great resources, also a wonderful place to study. And I think you can also find, depending on how quiet or how much background noise you like, different floors of the library to study on. And this kind of brings us into, well, actually, before we move on to the next slide, one last question I'd love to pose to you all here is, what services, if any, did you come to our office for? Was there at any point at which you needed ISEO's help with anything?
Yeah, I needed at first because I got a lot of problems with enrollment. I was like, I arrived here and I was like, I wanted to take like 4 courses and I was only enrolled in one because in the rest of them I was in the wait list, which is really important. Like I feel, I don't know with the rest of the majors, but with psychology, I feel like classes get full very easily. So it's really annoying sometimes, but be patient. Like in the 2 first weeks of course class, a lot of people will drop probably, but always try to like have other courses that you might like to take and check in your home college that they're okay with it. And yeah, but it can be annoying, but at some point you cannot do anything else.
Yeah, also like contact lenses is not like something like so different in the US. You need a prescription. So like certain brand you need to wear. Like you cannot just get it from pharmacy or something like that. They also do not like take any. I show my prescriptions to pharmacy when I want to get my like contact lenses. They don't accept any foreign like prescriptions. So if you need contact lenses here, might be like you need to buy it from like your home country or just like get a prescription and want to have send they'll help with it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both. Yeah. And Lucia brings up a great point that we've mentioned, but I want to highlight again. UC San Diego is a large school. We know that, especially as you're moving your lives here and trying to figure out, the new environment. There's a lot of different pieces to navigate. And so please think of our office kind of as a one-stop shop. If you're not sure where to get started looking for something or finding resources, or who to contact on campus with a particular question, we are here to help support you in that search. So please do come talk to us and we can either provide you with the answer, or if not us, point you in the right direction. All right, so I think the fun part, I think this is what everyone really likes to hear. Panelists, I would love to hear from you. How did you meet other students? How did you go about building your social lives, your friends? Did you get involved in other activities on campus, student organizations? What did you do?
Yes, well, for myself, this was really, this was something great. I think UCZ has a lot of associations for whatever interest you can come up with. And one advice I would give is they usually, especially in the first weeks of the quarter, they will be tabling, as they call it, so giving out information at Library Walk. So you can go there to find out about the different associations. There's also a web page where they have the list of all the associations. And yes, I think that those are great places to meet people. Also, for myself, I think with my roommates, doing things with my roommates was also really helpful. So yes, those, and yeah, you can surely find something that you can where you can do a lot of activities together.
Yeah, also I joined like a skateboard club because I like skateboard a lot. And I think it's very fun and you get to know a lot of people. And this is one of the main ways to make friends in UC San Diego, because like people say it's kind of like UC socially there. It's not like, it's because like campus is so big, it's so hard to make friends, and clubs are very important. And yeah, and I got to know a lot of different people like during like skateboarding club, and they also went on like city tour, like we skateboard together. That was really fun. So yeah, and also because also like you guys are interested, so you guys talk a lot, you guys can eventually end up really hanging out a lot. It's not gonna be very hard. Yeah.
In my case, I came here knowing just one girl from Spain, but we knew more people from Spain that was coming, so we ended up like hanging all in the airport and spending the night in the airport, which helped kinda. But once we arrived to iHouse, I found it really easy because I think at least all of the people that I've met, everyone's here came alone. Most of us didn't know anyone. We didn't have groups here. So just try to be open-minded, go to as many activities as you can. You're gonna meet a lot of people. And for what I've seen, everyone here is super nice. Like if I was you, for example, I would be super scared. Maybe you're thinking like we already have groups or people that has been here for the fall quarter. They may already know some people. Just if you see a group, try to like in any way try to talk with them or try to talk with your roommates. Maybe you can hang with them. You will eventually find people. If you see me around, don't like come to me, or if you need anything, just ask. I don't know. I find it really easy in iHouse to make friends and to have a group. So don't worry for that. You'll eventually find someone you will not want to leave when you have to get back home. So don't worry. Shouldn't.
Wonderful. Thank you. I love hearing those stories. And at the end of the presentation, we are going to share some information about events that our office hosts that you can start to get involved, places you can certainly meet people and start to build those friend groups. So before I move on to the last slide, for our panelists, I'm curious to know if any of you pursued employment while you were here. Did you pursue an on-campus job or off-campus? And if so, would you mind talking about your experience with that a little bit? No one? Okay. Well, if for those of you that are listening to this webinar, as we mentioned earlier, if you do have questions about employment, make sure you come talk to our office. We can help get you pointed in the right direction. All right, we're going to move on to the last slide. And while our panelists answer this question, I want to put the reminder out there. After this, we're going to move into a time of Q&A. So if you have questions, please do start submitting them at this point using the Q&A feature, because we want to make sure we'd love to answer as many of those as we can. For our panelists, can you end us by just telling us what is one thing you wish you knew on day one? If you were back first day you're arriving at UC San Diego, what do you wish you knew that you would love to share with the exchange students who are listening in now starting their programs?
I think I would love to, I wish I would knew that like people are actually friendly and they will love to make friends and don't be scared. Yeah, because like in my first day I was so scared and it was whole different environment. Like I lived in China, I lived in Germany. Now in US is so different. Like UC San Diego is so new and barely know anyone. So I was so scared in the beginning. I couldn't like I was so like embarrassed by like anyone. If I wanted to talk to anyone, I'd be like, "Oh, am I saying like something wrong or something?" And in the end, I would just kind of like stop talk to people, and I missed a lot of chance because of that. And I couldn't make any friends, like only my roommates. But after like got used to the new environment, I like started to make a lot of friends. And in the end, I just realized everybody was so nice and everybody can just talk to anything as long as it's not something weird. And if you talk to them, like be nice to them, be friendly to them, you will really have like wonderful memory of this like exchange program. Yeah, that's like something I wish I knew.
Well, I would say something that I wish I could have known was how frequently they use apps for everything. Maybe this is very common in developed countries, but at least compared to Mexico, yeah, they use apps for a lot of things. So I made a list. First of all, for transportation things, you need a couple of apps at least, which are the Pronto app to get your tickets. There's also a couple of apps that give you sort of real-time information of when the shuttles are coming, like Transloc and One Bus Away. And for those who will be dining on campus, there's also an app for getting your I guess dining orders, which is the mobile order app. And you probably it is also useful to have Canvas for classes as well. So I say this is very useful because for me, I came up with an international phone and I had trouble downloading some of the apps. I had some technical issues because, you know, the Play Store for my phone was from a different country, so I couldn't don't. It was a huge mess. So yeah, that can be something that you have to figure out. And other than that, I think it is also important in the first few days to have to know what are your sort of groceries and transportation methods, I guess. If you live on campus, there's a Target store where you can get at least basic things. It may not be the cheapest, but you can survive there at least the first few days. And yes, I wish I could, you know, this is probably something obvious, but you should research that because otherwise the first few days can be a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, as Jacobo said, you have the Target. You also, with the trolley, you can get easily to Rolf's and Trader Joe's, which are really good too. I would strongly recommend to bring some towels for the first day because maybe you arrive late. You might not be able to go to any supermarket at all. I'm sorry for the noise. Yeah, I'd recommend that. Take your studies seriously, but enjoy the experience. The quarter, sadly, we don't realize it, but it goes by pretty fast. If you're used to semesters, as I am, your professors are here to help. They are really nice. Usually, at least the ones that I had, you can approach to them, ask them questions if you have them. And yeah, just enjoy. Try to meet people as much as you can. Try to know people from very different cultures, from different countries. I don't know. This experience I feel is unique. If you're here for 1 year, for 1 quarter, 2 quarters, whatever, try to make the best of it and try to learn a lot, but experience a lot. Travel if you can around the US a little. We have spring break now. Well, we still have time until that gets, but in spring break, try to do something and enjoy.
Okay, I put this in the chat after Jacobo, you mentioned your cell phone. We do have free SIM cards in our office. It is a specific company that gave us the SIM cards, and you can activate it and then select whatever plan that you would like to have. So that is an option if you would like to. Again, they're at the front desk in our office, so you can always just swing by and grab one because yes, having a working cell phone is so important, and having those apps, as Jacobo said. UCSD also has its own app that if you happen to have a car on campus, it tells you things like which parking structures are full at the, like in real time, which dining halls are open, things like that. It's really, really, it's so helpful. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up as well.
All right, so we are going to move into a time of Q&A. I see a couple questions popping up in the Q&A feature. Again, you can find the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screens. If you have a question, go ahead and submit it now. Where would we like to start, Felicia? I see we have a question about check-in.
Yes. I was just gonna go in the order, just because I like going in top to bottom order.
Sure.
As far as I'm aware, any student who is a registered student and pays tuition and fees, which all of our exchange students are doing, are eligible to use the Triton U-Pass, which is part of the public transportation system in the city of San Diego. So it's the trolley system, which is kind of like the metro. We have a very limited metro trolley system, but it does go up to LA. It goes down to the border right before Mexico. It goes to downtown San Diego. You could go, see a ball game at Petco Park if you're going to be here. So as far as I'm aware, as long as you are you've paid your quarterly registration, you should be eligible for that. If you have any questions, please contact Transportation Services. So I did put the link up in the chat, and there is an FAQ and a contact us. Unfortunately, it's not something that our office is in charge of, so I can't give you a lot of good information, but of our panelists, I know a couple of you mentioned using Pronto and U-Pass. So this is something exchange students are able to utilize.
Yeah, but I also like one of the recent students also had some problems, and he kind of like sent an email. I don't know to who exactly. I can ask him, but he also had problems, but they solved them pretty easily.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so should the DS 2019 we submit to check-in be the original or the scanned copy? So you actually do not need to submit a copy of your DS 2019 to us. The things that we need for students, I don't think they do, Jessica.
No, yeah. So
Okay.
for the check-in, when you submit the check-in form in iPortal, and again, as a reminder, the check-in is really important. If you have not done that yet, please do make sure you do that. Summer or Felicia, could one of you drop the check-in link in the chat? When your immigration document, your DS 2019 has been issued to you, it's in initial status, which means it is almost kind of pending, meaning we've given you a document saying you can seek entry to the United States to come study here, but you are not actually in active J1 student status yet until you have submitted the check-in form to us, and we then go and check in your record or activate your record. So if you haven't submitted the check-in form, please make sure you do that. The check-in form is not going to have you provide us with a copy of your DS 2019. What you will need to upload is your Form I-94, your electronic I-94, which is your arrival record to the United States. So when you pass through customs, customs uses the information on your DS 2019 and passport to generate what's called the Form I-94. And this is the official US government record that you entered the United States. You can access your I-94 online, and so you'll need to do this. I will put that link in the chat for you. You can access the Form I-94 at this website, just dropped in the chat, and you'll need to generate the PDF showing your entry to the US and upload that as part of your check-in form and submit it to us.
And I know you need to update your address, your US address in Triton Link, and I believe you just need to check a box that says, I have done this as part of the check-in, but we don't actually need you to share what that address is. We just need you to have done it in Triton Link.
Correct. Yeah. So think about the check-in as a reporting that you have officially successfully arrived to the United States.
All right. I know there's a question about dining dollars to buy food on campus. Students, well, anyone can dine at any of the food service places on campus, dining halls, Starbucks, and can use cash or a credit card, or utilize, if you have a dining plan, also utilize that. So all of those are able to be used. I also will sometimes eat in the dining hall when I'm working on campus. There's a great poke place in 6th College. I will put a plug in for that. Let's see. For any students that are looking for jobs, so for students to have work authorization, you first need to find and have a job. You can't start working yet, but you need to have a job identified and somebody wanting to hire you. You will need to submit a letter from your employer that they're stating the hours per week, what you'll be doing, things like that as part of the employment letter, and then submit it to us in your iPortal. So again, it's 2 different types of employment. So for on-campus employment, it's the on-campus employment authorization request, and students are allowed to work up to 20 hours a week during the regular academic year and are able to work full-time during breaks. So during spring break, during summer break, if you're here for a full year and returning for fall quarter. For academic training, that is for any opportunities off campus, whether it's paid or unpaid. For students doing academic training, I don't know. I don't memorize every single thing off the top of my brain. I believe a student needs to be at UCSD for at least 1 quarter before they're eligible to do academic training. Again, that is for on and off campus opportunities that are paid or unpaid. And it does need to be somewhat connected to what you're studying. So you can work on campus, and the campus job does not have to have anything to do with your field of study. So a student on campus could be working at Target, you could be working at Starbucks, you could work in our office, you could be working in a laboratory, and that's completely okay. On-campus jobs do not have to be related to the field of study, but for an off-campus opportunity for doing academic training, it does need to be related somehow to something academic that you're studying. So you could not work at Starbucks off campus, but you could work at Starbucks on campus. You could be working at like a biotech company, or, again, something that is related to whatever your field of study is off campus for academic advice or for academic training. So they're a little bit different in terms of what students are required to do, whether you're doing on or off campus positions. But either way, you do need to have the job offer letter first before we can authorize work. So we can't authorize work for a job that you don't have yet. Let's see. Okay, so I know that many universities, when students are on exchange, need for our office to sign something that says oftentimes that you arrived to do your program. So you are going to do an iPortal request, and I will drop the link in the chat, but it's going to take me a second to find it. Let me throw this in the chat. So this is for home university forms that our office needs to sign. So it is a verification letter request that we need you to do within iPortal. And these are very, very common. Let's see. All right, I think we are all set with answering all of our questions. If you are interested in any employment opportunities or volunteer opportunities, I do recommend visiting the Career Services website. They have something connected, and UCSD students have access to it. It's called Handshake, and it's where employers list opportunities when they are looking to hire students, again, whether it's on or off campus opportunities. You can also go to our website, and there is information about working in the US as an international student, and I will just drop that link in the chat really quickly as well. Again, it's going to have different information, whether it is on campus or off campus for our students. All right. All right. Well, I would like to thank everyone here for coming to our webinar to learn more about how to get started with your program here. I would really like to thank our 3 student panelists so much for all of the great information you provided. I think it's really the highlight of the webinar is everything you share. And yes, we would just, again, like to welcome you to UC San Diego. If you do have any questions, please contact our office. We are here for you and hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful exchange program and beginning to your start here in San Diego. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank
And to
you.
close, I want to just briefly let you know about some upcoming events. If, as our panelists shared, you want to start getting involved and meeting people here on campus. We do have a coffee hour. I think one of the panelists mentioned they'd attended this. Coffee hour is hosted every month. It's typically on the 3rd Wednesday. It's from 8:30 to 10. This is a great place to come meet other international and exchange students. We sometimes have staff and faculty who will join. You can get a cup of coffee and a pastry, and there are always fun activities, games, prizes being handed out. So definitely make sure you come join us for those. We also monthly, our students, international students, host our intercultural social hour. And so hosted by students for students, also a great way to come meet other international and exchange students. I don't know if we have the next date specifically for the next one planned for January, but it will be on our iEvents calendar, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment. You can visit iprograms.ucsd.edu to see all the programs that we offer. These are just some of them. I think the coffee hours we've mentioned, intercultural social hour we've mentioned. I think, Sean, you mentioned at one point you'd gone to the beach or done something with our office. I think that was probably through the Triton Trekkers program, which kind of our programs we plan out around San Diego. San Diego has a lot of amazing hiking trails, beaches, mountains, places that you can go to get out and enjoy nature. So if you're interested in some of these programs, check out iprograms.ucsd.edu. And then last but not least, our iEvents calendar. This is going to be your one-stop shop for all of our programming events. If you go to ievents.ucsd.edu, you can see a calendar of everything we have coming up, and you can RSVP for whatever might interest you. And then if you have the time to stick around for a quick second, take your phone and scan this QR code. We would really appreciate your feedback on this presentation. And I think this is going to be it then. Final reminders, some of this we have already discussed at length, but make sure you complete your document check-in. If you haven't submitted the check-in form yet, be sure to do that. You should be receiving a weekly newsletter from us. It's a great way to stay in touch with events and reminders throughout the quarter. icontact.ucsd.edu is where you can visit if you need to get in touch with our office, and we're also on social media at istudent.ucsd. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We're so excited that you're here, and we look forward to seeing you at our events, at our office, or around campus.